Hi Taurus, thanks for tuning in and welcome to your reading for November 2019. Please join me here while I'm shuffling. Set aside any tasks that you may have on the go and bring all your presence and awareness to the reading. Take a moment here to check in with your higher self and your guides. Tune in. Ask your higher self and guides to connect with my higher self and guides so that we can create a feedback loop to make sure that the messages that come through here today are tailored for you. And when you take a moment to do that little dialogue set up, you'll find that this can very much be a personal reading for you. You might want to grab some headphones too so that you can really pay attention and focus and, block out any of the distractions that might be going on around you. We're going to take a look at the general energies available during this first spread and then follow up with a higher octave reading using the Voyager Deck. So let's have a look here. Death, crossed by King of Swords, Six of Wands, Seven of Cups, Two of Cups reversed, Lovers reversed, Knight of Swords reversed, Nine of Pentacles reversed, Hierophant reversed, Fool reversed, Four of Swords, Eight of Swords reversed, Knight of Pentacles, and Five of Pentacles. Really interesting spread here. My Five of Cups is at the bottom of the deck here, so 2 5s in your reading. My first gut reaction to seeing the first cards that went down was that there is a major turning point happening right now where there is a real clearance from the past, but and with that comes a sense of confidence of having actually really done all your homework and crossed all the T's and dotted all the I's, and that there is this sense of real victory, satisfaction, success, and accomplishment that you feel now, having really felt like you've totally completed the task at hand and successfully, leveled up. Really, that's what this feels like. There's a level up energy. There's a feeling here of having really, closed something out here with a lot of clarity, with a lot of with precision, with wisdom, with courage. And yet almost every other card in this spread, so the central axis of the reading, all the cards are upright and they're giving this feeling of very bright, optimistic, and confident success over a very intensive period of challenge and trials and tribulations. That's what it feels. And then the rest of the cards here on all the surrounding cards on this spread, with the exception of these two, are all in reverse. And that doesn't necessarily mean that this is a bad reading, but how I'm going to interpret it is that even though you've been through a lot and it feels as though the worst is behind you, and that's definitely what I'm sensing from this reading here, there is a little bit of and this came through in another reading actually. Just let me try to think who it was, because you might find more information by watching that reading as well. I think it was maybe it was the Pisces reading. There's something here about feeling as though you are victorious and you are successful and you do have a lot of confidence, having successfully completed a very difficult time period. But coming out of it and into the next, there's a little bit of a feeling of pausing and even a little bit of reluctance and hesitation before actually embarking on what is next here for you. And maybe that's just simply a matter of dealing with some earthly, physical, somehow even rather mundane closures and how should I say that? Like, it's very physical matter that needs to be addressed perhaps before there is this sort of launching off of this period of time into something next, something new. There's like a reflection time, maybe on a physical level there could be some like need to hold back a little bit before pushing forward, because there could be some physical details, whether that's your own physical exhaustion or whether that's like maybe you have some bills to pay first before you can like kind of think about how you're gonna express and experience this newfound energy that you've uncovered from having been through something tough and come out of it feeling successful in it. So there's some physical physical things to deal with. You have this here also with the Nine of Pentacles reversed and the Knight of Pentacles upright. This is saying here that even though you have this success and confidence in this position of the Six of Wands at the top of the reading, this card here is the Knight of Pentacles is in reverse in your environment. There's a similar energy between these two cards. It definitely has a lot to do with self-confidence. But this card being in your environment with the Knight of Pentacles, it could be suggesting that you know that for the next push that you're about to embark on, that you need to have a lot of patience and virtue and integrity and courage and commitment to something long, a long journey that will unfold slowly over time. And I feel with these two pentacle cards in reverse here at the foundation of the reading, these quadrants, that you may have to just like take a moment here to nurture yourself and rest a little bit. I don't see this as a long moment. You know, this Four of Swords in the outcome position of the reading as well is also talking about taking some time to rest and recover and recuperate, and maybe even just use this very, it's like, feels like a spongy moment of pausing to really give your time and space to higher wisdom to inform you and inspire you and encourage you. Okay, now this quadrant here, hopes and fears, we have Eight of Swords reversed with Hierophant reversed. So in this reading we have quite a few cards that are very symbolic of Taurian energy. The Hierophant is definitely one of them. I feel this Nine of Pentacles and this Five of Pentacles are also very Taurian energy and are speaking directly to that kind of physical archetype of this, and this one as well, like this sort of patient, slow-moving, determined character. And seeing it here in the reverse position in the hopes and fears with the Eight of Swords in reverse, what I feel that this is speaking to is that perhaps one of the things that you're processing right now in this very temporary pause before launching the next thing is that you may be looking at which parts of your personality may be like inhibiting you. Like I think there is something about these two cards together that says you may be utilizing this time to look at what your strengths and weaknesses are. Like you may be like scouring over the pros and cons of who you are, and there might be something there about how you may have been in recent times a little too stubborn and maybe a little bit too headstrong and maybe too firmly stuck in a certain way that might have been what could have been challenging about the last time period that you're just coming out of. And there's no judgment, there's no shade in there. I'm a Taurus, so this reading is for me as well. But I just want to say about that, there's also I'm hearing limitation. So with that comes, and again, these I don't read cards as positive or negative. It's just they're just energy being described through the images, through the archetypes, through the elements, through the modalities. And so how I'm interpreting this is that you may be understanding as well, on the flip side, that the parts of your personality that may be a little bit fixed, that are actually beneficial, because you understand, being that you are like profoundly earthy, there is an understanding here about how limitation, while at times can be, you know, stressful and bring some pain and discomfort and sometimes even grief or anxiety, there are a lot of ways in which limitation is very beneficial, because it gives you a boundary, it gives you an edge, it gives you certain kind of context to work within that allows you to be even more prolific and more expressive in certain areas. And that's, I think, what this combination of cards here is describing. It's like how to find benefit in limitation, how to use your own qualities to exude a type of discipline that is very expressive and very determined to utilize whatever constraints are being experienced by you to actually maximize whatever benefits you can glean out of any type of circumstance. Now, the only thing I haven't really touched on in this reading are these two reversals here. In the recent past, we have this Two of Cups in reverse, and this is in the near future or currently right now. So this is interesting that there is this on both sides of the central theme of the reading, there are two cards that are speaking pretty clearly about one-on-one relationships, or you know, romance or marriage, or however you want to view those cards, those energies. And I feel that, just give me a second here, I'm not really sure what I want to say about these right now. I might pull the extended cards first to see if I can get a little bit more on those before I launch. So Five of Cups, Seven of Wands upright, Queen of Pentacles, and Priestess in reverse. What does it mean? What I'm getting is that I feel that there's something here about overcoming loss and disappointment, and like maybe there, for some of you, this is not for everyone. I feel there's something here about a particular type of repeating pattern in relationships, where maybe there is this kind of expectation in the beginning, or a type of excitement and profound hopefulness and positivity and exuberant kind of you know, excitement for what is potential in a circumstance, in a coupling with another person, and then the crash and burn that comes with like the disappointment that you may experience when that person turns out to be a real human, and you know, has normal flaws, and maybe leaves you feeling a little bit like falling short in your expectation. That's something there for someone, I think. And then like this Queen of Pentacles and the High Priestess, I feel that there is something here about maybe just having a reality check on that expectation part of things, in order to be able to have like genuine relating with people in a way that doesn't have that like the built-in default being that that people will disappoint, right? I think this Queen of Pentacles here with the Knight, with the High Priestess reverse, is saying like, be willing to like look for good things in people, and don't always, you know, maybe there's something here about writing people off when there is that disappointing moment where all of a sudden a flaw becomes very evident in a person. And maybe there's too much of focus and attention put on that one part of a person that has let you down or has made you feel disappointed, and rather keep using honesty and wisdom and insight and clarity to still see the beautiful qualities of a person and be able to love them in spite of sometimes flaws that may seem like unbearable, or you know, impossible to bear. Yeah, that's the same thing there, what I said. So I hope that lands for somebody, that is making some sense here. I'm not sure if there's more to say there. There could be here for some people watching this reading, the Death here crossed by the Knight of Swords with these two romance, love, partnership cards either side in reverse, could be talking about an ending of a relationship that maybe has been something that was could have been quite painful and very fraught with a lot of challenge, and that could have been what this, you know, the early part of the reading we talked about having kind of come out of a cycle where there has been a lot of challenge and trials and tribulations, but you're walking ahead now feeling like successful and victorious in having really mastered a certain specific lesson that you've been kind of working with during probably a lot of this last year of 2019. And I think I'm giving a different reading now basically on the whole spread, but for some people, if you have been in a relationship and this is a moment here where that relationship is ending and you're splitting ways with a person who maybe has taught you a lot, and particularly about your own power and your own, you know, self-love and self-confidence. That could be what you're coming away here with, is an understanding of like the beneficial parts of what that experience was for you, even though it may have been painful, and maybe there's an ending now where there's like a total closing out of that cycle. You're coming away with a lot of resources and a lot of lessons being learned, and a great understanding about how profound that person was as a teacher for you. Even if they're not like an ideal partner, there is a lot there that they have taught you, even if they didn't intend to. Okay, checking over here, but I feel that's it for the general reading. In any case, whether this is a breakup reading for you, or simply that what we spoke about earlier with regard to it being like a closing out of a cycle here where there has been a lot of learning, and the worst is behind now. There is a slight pause here and some like time to rest and recover and collect more understanding and more inspiration and insight before starting something new. That's with the Fool in reverse here and the Four of Swords. So take a moment to pause and reflect and just be with your feelings and thoughts, and just like don't rush ahead. Don't feel like there's a need to rush ahead and try to establish something new or move into whatever's next just now. Just give yourself some time. All right, let's have a look at the Voyager deck now. I'm going to give another reading using the Holographic Mandala spread. Tune in again while I shuffle and send your energy over into the deck. The higher octave reading is designed to provide a little bit more insight into what lessons may be unfolding and what karmic and spiritual forces may be at play. Hopefully also your guides can present some practical advice for how to work with the energies, so to make the most out of the lessons that are at play. Let's take a look. Wheel of Fortune in reverse is at the bottom of the deck. Judgment, crossed by Ten of Worlds reversed, Hierophant reversed. So we have some repeating energy already. Four of Wands, Ace of Wands reversed, Nine of Pentacles, again repeating. This time it's upright in the outcome position. Magician, Ten of Crystals, Woman of Cups, Sun reversed, Fool, Six of Cups reversed, the Strength card, and Sage of Crystals reversed. This is a really interesting spread. This feels a little bit more empowering and empowered for you. It does also describe similar energy in that it's talking about a very transformative experience that may be closing out now, where you had been in a very difficult time, a very challenging time. Perhaps you've been experiencing a lot of limitation and restriction. Maybe you've been feeling like unsure about what it is you're even supposed to understand or get out of this difficult situation, and now it feels like there is a movement where the worst is behind and you're starting to gain a little bit more clarity and understanding. You may have a release from either, as I said in the previous reading, either a relationship or a difficult experience, a difficult time could be closing out here now, and you may be understanding with better clarity what was the point of all that hardship and challenge. And you're moving into a space here where you're feeling a little bit more empowered in your own wisdom, in your own magic, in your own creative ability to, imbue the psychic grid of life with your thought forms to be able to create in a more empowered way, more specifically the things that you wish to, experience in life on this plane. So I think there's a time here where, there is like it's very character building. Like what I'm feeling from the energy of these cards is that your character has been very much having a lot of testing and difficult experiences, but it's really built you into a very robust person with greater wisdom and understanding, and a better awareness about what you actually have, like what resources are available to you internally, like what mechanisms you have, working that you can use to kind of, feed into the grid your personal will. Let's put it that way. So, there's the Hierophant again in this reading in reverse. This time it's in the crowning card position. So again, I feel like there is a nod there to, as I described in the earlier reading, there could be something here in this about, maybe you are analyzing and identifying parts of your personality that are your strengths and some things that are your weaknesses, and maybe you're starting to learn a bit better about how to actually make the most out of all of that in order to be able to, as I said, channel your energy and your will into the matrix of life, to be able to have a better experience, to feel like you're a little bit more empowered in your experience, to feel like you're getting the most out of your own journey, as well as cultivating greater skill and greater will and greater ability to be more participating, to be able to participate in a much more profound and evolved way, a much more mature way. What else is here? In this hopes and fears position, in this reading, we have the Woman of Cups in upright position with the Six of Cups in reverse. So this is telling me that I feel like you wish to move out of this cycle and into the next, feeling like you did all your emotional homework and that you have dealt with all the things that you've been experiencing and feeling, and that you're coming up into a time where you can turn all of that emotional energy into really like compost in a way, almost like it's like you're like turning the soil of your own emotional being and cultivating joy out of what was difficult, and really like turning things around in a way that's really meaningful. It's not fraudulent, it's really genuine. It's not like trying to bypass a difficult time period or challenging emotions, but rather you really actually have experienced all that stuff, and you have moved out of a cycle that's been difficult, and you're able to see it all for what it is and actually feel profoundly joyful and grateful that all those things have been your experience, and that you're able to now move ahead into the next cycle with a lot of trust, with joy, with freedom, with a sense of being nurtured by life. Despite sometimes your painful experiences, there is this feeling of being able to actually really embody joy, and trusting and understanding that like there's nothing, it's not personal, like your difficult experiences is not some kind of expression of like a wrathful god or some kind of karmic thing happening to you that you deserve bad things or whatever. No, this is just like life and clearing of energy and clearing of karma, being uplifted by your own experience, to understand that it's your choice to feel joy, it's your choice to feel trusting and open, and that's your responsibility. You can hold on to the pain in the past, but that's just going to be what you generate more of. So the sun in the outcome position now with the Fool upright. In the previous reading, the Fool was in reverse. So this is giving a lot of like, it's really hopeful and blessed energy, seeing that you're coming through in this higher octave spread with a greater awareness and ready to actually be, fulfilled in a closure of something, and ready to launch forward into the next cycle with a lot of understanding and wisdom as a result of the challenges that you may have been facing in the recent past. Let's have a look at the bottom of the deck. Right, Wheel of Fortune in reverse, Man of Wands, Six of Worlds in reverse, and the Moon. I feel this is like a little repeat of what I said at the end of the previous reading, where if there is a breakup reading, if this is a breakup reading for you and there has been some change of like your dynamic with either another person, or if like there's a change in your status somehow, that could be something you're still processing, and maybe this is something that this reading could be something that you actually get to after you do this emotional processing. Yeah, because you have the Moon here as the final card, and there's this Wheel of Fortune in reverse as the first card of these extended readings. So I feel like for some of you, there is going to be a change of your status, or some kind of shift in your personal dynamic with another individual. Could be this Man of Wands, King of Wands here. In the previous reading, it was the King of Swords. Either way, if there is a change in your relationship status or in your emotional relating with another person, it is definitely bound to trigger some emotional clearing and work that you will do to be able to understand some shadow aspects within as a result of the dynamic between you and another person, and see that as a beneficial thing. Don't try to squirm away from it or avoid it, or minimize the effect of it. Like, really just feel all the feelings and study what comes out of that to help you gain understanding and wisdom to be able to develop your character more, because that's really what it's all about, is developing your character. Okay, checking over here, but I feel that's it for your reading, Taurus. Major Arcana cards in this spread, we have Magician and Strength, Judgment, Hierophant reversed, Sun, Fool, Wheel of Fortune reversed, and the Moon upright. So there's quite a lot of energy in this reading that's from the Major Arcana. So it does signify that this is rather significant time and that there is a lot of learning and growth. I feel like there's a push with this energy. It's not just like, it's not like, I feel like you'll see in the physical world as well as in your emotional world that there are a lot of changes happening that are very evident, that will help you see that you are progressing a lot. There is progressive energy in this reading. And even though there might be some challenging emotional aspects, I feel like you're able to see the benefits of it, and you will be able to utilize this time to make the most out of what's being revealed through your circumstances in a way that will help you understand with greater clarity, like I said, your strengths and weaknesses within your archetypes, and learning how to better hone that to really get the most out of your experience. Magic is at play. All right, Taurus, that's it for your reading for November. Thank you so much for watching. It's an honor and a pleasure to read for you. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing, and commenting, and I will see you in next month's reading.